Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
U.S. trying to close the show. She was doing a great job of feeding that. It's over.
Coming up, so JP, don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Okay. We are back with another Yankees episode. Welcome. Episode 630 of the podcast. Welcome to BD4. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. Yes, you are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. If you are new here to the podcast, thank you for stopping by. Be sure to subscribe to the show, download these episodes, give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple. Maybe subscribe, like, comment on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify. Share this show on social media with your friends, your family. Tell them about how boring this show could be, how great this show could be, how much you hate me, how much you love me. But I do appreciate you stopping by. And we're talking Yankees again because there have been some rumors that the Yankees are going after Snell again. There's been some things about Blake Snell that you're hearing from Andy Martino. Aaron Judge has hinted some things. Brian Cashman, you're hearing some things. Just things, more things. Nothing to take too serious right now, I guess. But something to just keep an eye on as we get closer and closer to the regular season from opening up. Because as we record, it's February 21st today. Wednesday the 21st. And the New York Yankees seem to be set. We thought they were set. But again, some things have happened the last couple of days that have kind of gotten me like, huh. And I don't like being optimistic because that means I'm just going to get let down in the end. But before we do dive into the Snell stuff, I just want to express how happy I am that baseball is back, that I get to talk New York Yankees again, because my hopes are kind of low with the Knicks right now. I think life is grim as a Knicks fan with the injuries. I don't see it getting better. Didn't like the Randall comment I heard today about him not ruling out surgery. I don't think the Knicks are having a successful 2024 in the playoffs. I'm kind of ruling them out. So I'm relying on the Yankees now this year. 2024 has to be the year of the Yankees, and I'm excited. Players just reported. Pitchers and catchers reported a week ago. Players starting to trickle in now. Juan Soto came to camp. You're seeing a bunch of clips of him in a Yankee uniform. He's swinging the bat, taking swings off Nestor. He struck out 3 times against Nestor. Look at that either way you want. You can look at that as a positive for Nestor. You can look at that as a negative for Soto. Or you can look at that from my viewpoint, which is who gives a shit. Guys are, it's best shape of my life season. We'll talk a little bit about the Stanton stuff. Maybe touch on Carlos Rodon. But I am excited. Of course I'm excited. If you haven't checked out episode 628 and episode 629, both of them were Yankees season preview episodes. In 628, we had Dom Randazzo, big-time Yankees fan, join the show. And then in 629, we had Rob Dobek, big-time Yankees fan, also join the show. We got his opinion on the Yankees. So go check out 628 and 629 if you have not yet. And if you want to get right to the point, you can go to the timestamp down below from this episode, and you can pick out where you want to play this episode. But I just want to let you know I'm excited. You know, I may have my opinions, and I may overreact and downplay some things, and etc. But at the end of the day, I'm a Yankees fan, and I'm going to be excited for the upcoming season. Juan Soto is box office, and I don't know that a lot of people know that. I feel like more people should know how great Juan Soto is. Juan Soto is a 25-year-old superstar who's already a lock for the Hall of Fame. Does he stay healthy the rest of his career? Knock on fucking wood. The Yankees have that guy. And they have that guy right next to another guy who, if he wasn't, playing in college, probably would be a Hall of Fame lock by now. Those two guys are playing together. And so you hear these reports that now the Yankees are trying to add a Cy Young winner to put next to their Cy Young winner. Yeah, it gets you excited. Before we get to that, though, again, I want to talk about a few other things. Gleyber Torres has a mustache. He wants to be a Yankee for life. I feel like he said that before. Listen, the guy obviously wants to be here. He's a dude who wears his heart on his sleeve. It doesn't seem like he's. I feel bad for the kid because he's clearly over the years he's expressed that he wants to be a longtime Yankee, but it doesn't seem like the interest is mutual. We're going on 3 years now where it seems like the Yankees have been trying to trade him. They just haven't gotten the right. They haven't found the right deal. Other teams have thought the price was too risky. Like that Marlins trade offer last season was a little nuts that the Yankees wanted those starting pitchers for Gleyber. At the time, he wasn't really killing it. But they've been trying to trade him for a bit. They've had multiple chances to extend him. Hasn't happened. I think they're going to take this thing to the winter if they don't move him by then. The Yankees have 7 expiring players this year, so I feel like they should take advantage of that, and I think Gleyber Torres becomes expendable if Oswald Peraza starts hitting. I think if Oswald Peraza, because there are always going to be injuries. I don't think anybody would be shocked if veterans Anthony Rizzo or DJ LeMahieu found their way onto the DL at some point. And then one of those guys goes down, Oswald slides in. He either slides in for DJ at third. If Rizzo goes down, LeMahieu goes to first and he slides in at third. And if that's the case, if Oswald Peraza gets a crack and he starts hitting the ball, Gleyber Torres and his expiring money, you can flip that for a controllable starting pitcher. That's my key to this infield, is Oswald Peraza. Because everybody else, I feel like I'm tempering my expectation for, or I know what I'm getting. I think Volpe is going to be slightly better this year. I think Rizzo might be slightly better this year. DJ LeMahieu at this point, I think he's what he is. Oswald Peraza is still much of a question mark. He's a prospect who's graded out as very good defensively. He's got a great arm. He's got a good internal clock. Offensively, he hits the ball hard. He controls the strike zone. You like the swing. It's a little more level than Volpe's. He was the one who lost the battle to Volpe in spring training last year. And he's got a lot of speed like Volpe. He's got plus speed. So if Oswald Peraza comes into camp and he looks good, and the Yankees are like, okay, you could stick around as the super sub, and he's just present, that's all I need him to be. Is if Oswald is just present at the plate, I think he absolutely should be getting reps at third base. What do I mean by present? 250? An OPS in the 750s, maybe? Present. At this point, with DJ LeMahieu, less is more. And I've been saying this, I've been singing this song forever. Less is more with DJ LeMahieu. I think you get more production the less he plays. At this point in his career, with the injuries, with the age, I think you should rotate him with Oswald Peraza. I think you should platoon him righty-lefty with Alex Verdugo at leadoff. You know, keep him off his feet. Keep him healthy. He's in his mid-30s, and he's been dealing with that foot injury the last couple years. So I would love, ideally, in a perfect world, DJ LeMahieu to go back into that super utility role that he was initially in when the Yankees acquired him. Remember, he didn't start on opening day when he first came here. I doubt it. I doubt that's what the idea is going to be. I mean, they basically told you he's going to lead off and he's going to start third base. They did tell you that. He makes a lot of money. He's not going to sit. But, like, even at this point, like, could he get 50-50 reps? Some kind of rotation with DJ and Peraza I would just be enamored with. Because I don't trust DJ LeMahieu to play a full season at third base anymore. You know, this will be his first season going in as a full-time third baseman. But at the plate, he's just not hit. We'll be going on 4 consecutive seasons if he doesn't hit this year. 2021, he had a bad season. That was his first bad year that came off the COVID year where the dude, he bat damn near 370? And he was hitting everything on the ground. The power was gone. 2022 comes. He had a very productive first half. And then he has the foot injury sometime along the second half. Wasn't producing. Dead. Last season comes. You're thinking, okay, maybe he's still dealing with the effects of the foot injury because he was very unproductive in the first half. But finally, he starts to hit. Come the second half, he's a little more productive. He works with Sean Casey. And in 60 second half games, he bats .273 with a .377 on base, a .432 slugging, which equates to a .809 OPS. And that was with 8 home runs and 17 RBIs. Again, in 60 games. He looked much more like DJ LeMahieu. He looked like a productive baseball hitter. So if we can get that, something just similar to that, it's a total win. I don't know, though. Like, at this age, I was listening to Talking Yanks earlier today. They actually did a DJ LeMahieu player profile, kind of saying the same thing. He's older, and his bat speed has gotten slower, which is why he struggled so much against fastballs. Now, that picked up in the second half, but a lot of his problems in the first half last year were those 2-strike fastballs. They blew right by him. He's going to get more fastballs this season if he's going to lead off. Why? Well, because you got 2 guys named Juan Soto and Aaron Judge hitting behind him. So, I don't know how long of a leash you can have on him. I think defensively he's versatile, but he's probably just primarily a third baseman now, bearing injury. I think you have Glaber at second base, Rizzo at first base, Peraza's the super utility guy for now, and DJ's insurance at first base for Rizzo. And he's a decent third baseman. He makes plays. The arm strength is pretty weak. Last year, he was only 19th percentile in arm strength, threw less than 80 miles an hour. So, is that going to be an issue? You got a lot of ground ball pitchers on the roster as it is. You just added in Marcus Stroman, who is a two-seam sinker ball, ground ball guy. And if that's the case, I want my best defensive player in the system at the hot corner. And you got Peraza waiting in the weeds. I think the Yankees need to use Peraza. I just don't think they will. For whatever reason, they don't value Oswald Peraza. Now, if you go with Oswald Peraza, you're going to have people questioning, do they have too many young players getting a shot to start? Anthony Volpe at short. Oswald Peraza will be starting. Austin Wells maybe eventually gets the 50-50 role. And then maybe Dominguez when he comes. Like it's a lot of young players. My counter to that has been, what about having too many underachieving veterans? Give me the struggling rookie versus the struggling veteran. Which kind of segues us to our next topic, which is going to be about catcher. We talked about catcher a little in our previous 2 episodes. So go check out 628 and 629 if you haven't yet. But I want to talk a little bit more about the backstop position when we return from our first break here on BD4 episode 630. Stay with us.
Hey there, thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much.
All right, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to episode 630 of BD4. And I don't know why, but the camera doesn't seem like it's focused. Let me see. All right, there we go. Is it focused? I can't tell. I think we're okay. Catcher. Again, we've talked about catcher plenty, so we're going to be repetitive. Skip in the timestamps if you want. I think the Yankees are going to go with Trevino, out the gate at least, because of his defense, because of the familiarity with the pitching staff. He works well with them. He calls a good game. But the dude just can't hit a lick. And I know that there is a low standard for catchers when it comes to hitting, but I don't even feel like Jose Trevino has reached that standard since his first half 2 years ago. And I look at who he's got under him. Austin Wells is a left-handed hitter who's got a lot of upside. Yeah, the defense is questionable right now, and he's unproven offensively. And you also still have Ben Rortvedt, who's a lefty. The Yankees like his defense and his ability to work with Garrett Cole, right? I do hope that they go with Wells to a point where he's a regular part of the 2-man catching rotation. There's too much in his bat to ignore. And it's not just the lefty pop. It's the hit tool that I like. He's a good hitter. He'll take his walks. He can hit for average. He's a guy who makes hard contact. He is a guy who uses all fields. You saw him hit the gaps towards the end of last season when he started hitting late September. He's got a great recognition of the strike zone. And of course, he's got some power. Left-handed hitter with great bat speed, and he can drive the ball. That will play up in Yankee Stadium. But I like guys who are known, like prospects that are known to be great hitters, as opposed to prospects who are known to have this raw, like tremendous power. I feel like I prefer the guy who's known to be a better all-around hitter because there's a higher floor there. As opposed to when Gary Sanchez when he was a prospect, when he was in their system. And I know when he first got called up, he was batting .299 in his first 50-game stint, and the next year he batted about .280. But it was always about the power. how he was able to hit a home run to right field from the right side of the plate. Right? That was Gary's thing. It was the tremendous Pudge Rodriguez ×2 power in his bat. That's why he was in their system since 16 years old. Austin Wells, yeah, the lefty stuff is cool, but it's his ability to hit. That's what the scouts like. And I feel like this is a kid who should get a shot. And I don't think he'll have a ton of pressure on him. You put him at the 8 spot in the order. Him and Volpe can be 8 and 9, kind of like Andujar and Torres when they first got called up. And sure, as a catcher, the defense isn't phenomenal. He doesn't have a great arm. He needs to clean up his footwork a little bit. But he's quick. And he's an average receiver. And he's improving behind the dish. And I think he deserves a shot. I thought, for what it's worth, that Austin Wells held it down pretty well in September also last year. I just think it's a mistake if the Yankees go with Ben Rortvedt and Jose Trevino. That there's zero offense there. Just get some damn offense in there. It's 2024, man. You know, Austin Wells is 24 years old at this point. Let's go. Let's get this kid's development started. I was at one point like excited about Ben Rortvedt early last year. You know, I'm over that. That was more me trying to talk myself into it until Wells came up, which he did. And as soon as he did, I did the Bye Woody in Toy Story 2. And I think it's also a mistake if Jose Trevino gets more than 50% of the reps. Again, out the gate, sure, he's probably going to be favored. I can live with it, but I really would love for Wells to get, let's say, 3 days at catcher, and Trevino gets the other 3, and I'd be fine with that. I will say, this next month and a half before opening day, Austin Wells has a real legitimate shot to turn the Yankee brasses heads, because Jose Trevino is going to be out a few weeks with that calf injury. Austin Wells coming in here, and he starts hitting, and he starts turning heads. The Yankees have been marketing him a lot on social media for what that's worth. Maybe they see things differently, and they go with him earlier than I expect. I want to talk a little bit about Giancarlo Stanton. Let's talk Stanton in about 30 seconds. We'll be right back.
You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4.
All right. Welcome back to the show. I appreciate you all tuning in and listening. Episode 630 of BD4. Giancarlo Stanton's interesting. Everybody's talking about it. It's kind of the elephant in the room if I don't bring it up. Briefly mentioned it last episode. He's coming to camp looking in elite shape. He looks very lean. He looks like he skipped leg day this offseason in a good way. He looks in baseball shape versus previous Giancarlo Stanton body types of him looking in weightlifter shape, bodybuilder shape. He looks like a baseball player. You look at the guy, looks like he did a lot of running, a lot of cardio over the winter, sprinting, treadmill work. The first thing I think is, I wonder where this mentality was last year. Why did it take Cashman calling you out to do something about it? By the way, I loved that by Cashman when he did that a few months ago, and Yankees fans were triggered over it. Look what it led to. The same people who are now drooling over Stanton on social media were criticizing Cashman for calling Stanton out about his injuries. Now, I still want to see what this new look Stanton, hashtag skinny Stanton, looks like when he's swinging the bat and when he's running bases. You know, you can look good in camp, but can you stay healthy and can you produce in game action? That's a whole different story. What happens when he actually starts using his muscles full speed 100% in baseball games? But if he does stay healthy relatively, and if he produces, Jesus Christ, would that change things? The crazy thing is, I have the bar for Stanton set so low right now to where I really couldn't be disappointed if he did 240 and hit 30 homers and had an OPS around 800. I'd be thrilled with that. That's the crazy thing. I have the Yankees lineup producing I said it before, top 7 offense this year with Stanton not being so great. So if Stanton is great or if he's just decent, this Yankee offense can hit their way to success in October with their bullpen holding it down. It's a World Series favorite if you can get Stanton hitting like, you know, a productive middle of the order bat again. I'm rooting for the guy. Let me just put that out there. I'm a big Stanton guy because of his playoff performances. I've gotten a little fed up the last couple of years with him getting hurt and having trouble staying on the field. You know, there was that post on Twitter that's kind of been going, I guess, viral. And I love Dan Rourke. I think he does a hell of a job. I listen to the Yankee Avenue show a lot. I think they're done with that show, though. But he's great. I like his YouTube channel. He does a great job. He's awesome. Obviously, you don't need me saying that. I'm fucking nobody. But, you know, he put out a post saying that the Yankees should kind of do what Philadelphia did with Trey Turner. Give him a standing O on an opening day at Yankee Stadium. I mean, like, being in shape should be the bare fucking minimum for any athlete. A guy getting paid millions to hit a baseball can't even stay on the field enough to have a chance to do that. It's kind of a little silly to me for me to cheer. It's like I'm cheering for nothing. I'm cheering for him for doing his job. It's like it's the participation generation kind of wanting us to do that. That's all. Like all the people advocating for that are, you know, people under the age of 20 on Twitter. Like, it's the participation generation. It's their little crutch that they go to. In any New York sport, when people get mad at, like, the fans booing, and they go with the narrative, like, this is why players don't want to come here, because you guys are mean. That's not true. That's never been true. Like, these professional athletes aren't Twitter cucks. Like, some of these Yankees... Like, they're men who get paid more than we ever will. Why do you think Stanton hasn't asked out yet? Do we not remember Garrett Cole signing here, coming off a successful Houston Astros team? Why do you think Aaron Judge chose New York City over California? Don't give me that bullshit. So, you know, keep being whiny little white knights because they can't hear you, people. Like, they don't even know you exist. They're not going to befriend you. So, like, professional athletes doing the bare minimum of their jobs should not warrant an ovation. That's a special thing that you can't just do because you want to be nice. No. And for the record, the opposite shouldn't happen either. You don't boo somebody unless it absolutely is warranted. But, you know, not to mention, it's going to be like a week into the season before Stanton debuts at home anyway. We have 2 away series to start the year. I think it's Houston and then Baltimore. So he could easily be, you know, 1 for 27 by the homestand, whatever. And fucking, you know, you're going to give him an ovation for that? It's never going to happen, thankfully, because Yankee Stadium isn't full of Twitter cucks. But I saw that tweet and I was like, Jesus Christ, Dan, I love you. This is one of the 1% of the time I disagree with you. It was insane. Pro athlete making millions. For what? Why am I cheering? What has he done the last 2 years for me to cheer him? not going to boo him. Shouldn't boo him. Anybody who boos him is an asshole. But I'm not going to give him a fucking ovation. Kidding me? I do wonder if it gets that bad with Stanton and he's not hurt and he's not hitting or he gets hurt, does that rush the process with Dominguez? Because he's on track to return pretty early. You're already hearing like he's progressing super fast. Jason Dominguez is already throwing right now. You heard the other day, I think Hoke said like he's expected to partake in extended spring training action late in April. So I think the Yankees can afford to take it slow with Jason. As much as I want to see him, they now have the outfield depth. Trent Grisham is the fourth outfielder who he's won a Gold Glove, and he's a guy who can hit lefties pretty well. And Dominguez is probably going to be kept down until mid-May anyway, because one, he's on the 60-day, and two, something tells me even if he was healthy, they would manipulate service time, try to get that extra year of control. I think May 15 is the day. So I think the Yankees are going to send Jason down to rehab first, just for a little bit, and then even when he's ready, just to get his feet wet, and you probably see him return July. My initial date was August. I even said late August because I was being very conservative and I was trying not to get too excited. But the things I'm hearing and seeing and reading about now, it's like July. Some people think July is fucking late. But I think when everybody is healthy, if Jason returns, let's say he does return in July and Stanton's healthy, Grisham's healthy, Judge is healthy, Verdugo, Soto's healthy, I still think they're going to flip Verdugo for a starting pitcher. I think he was acquired to be that stopgap until Jason returns. And then they're going to flip him for pitching. Maybe a bullpen arm. Okay. Let's get to break. When we return from break, we'll talk about this Blake Snell shit. Stay with us here on BD4 episode 630. Be right back.
If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
All right. Welcome back to the show. Episode 630 of the podcast. So a report came out the other day that the Yankees offered Snell another contract. Then you heard, I think it was, I want to say Nightingale. I don't know. Then you heard a report saying that was old news and it was the same contract. But the next morning, Martino says that the Yankees are still very in and the two sides are linked still. And then later that day, yesterday, Judge holds his first press conference. Judge is very close with Snell. They're good friends. And he makes the comment that he did while smirking, saying, I still think there's a move coming. And he's hesitant when he says it, and he's kind of smirking. Judge is the captain of the Yankees. Judge knows more than anybody else. He has more pull than anybody. I hate, because I'm one who says talk is less than cheap, talk is meaningless. But like, why else would he say something like that? Why else would he hesitate like he did and smile like that? If it's like, go watch the video if you haven't yet. It's blowing up. I don't know where you've been if you haven't seen it. But you see Judge say something like that and the mannerisms that he was showing. It's like, and then you got Brian Cashman on John Boy hinting at something, saying that the pencils are not down yet regarding starting pitching. It just makes everybody think of Blake Snell. And I don't know what the deal would look like. You know, it almost certainly wouldn't be a pillow contract, like a 1-year prove-it deal because of the CBT. Yeah, I was reading The Athletic, and they said if the Yankees were to offer Snell $40 million for this season only, they'd be paying $40 million to Snell and then an additional $42 million in luxury tax money because of the 110% tax on them. So that would mess their chances up of locking Soto up in free agency. If the Yankees were to go after Blake Snell, I would expect more years in the contract. So they would be able to spread the money out 5 or 6 years. And this way, for this season, it's a lesser tax hit and you're still able to bring back Soto. Plus, you got 7 guys coming off the books. Hopefully you can move some of that salary this season before the deadline. And if you get Snell, it's important to remember that you do lose 2 draft picks and then you lose some of the international bonus pool money. That hurts because the Yankees do use that. But it's Snell. I'm biting the bullet. I mean, you're trying to win a fucking World Series, people. If the Yankees are able to maneuver a deal with Boris and they can get Blake Snell in their rotation, wow. Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? To have Garrett Cole and Blake Snell at the top of the staff, 1 and 2, 2 Cy Young winners, and then on the other end, Judge and Soto at the top of the lineup, 2 and 3, 2 Silver Slugger winners, 2 MVP candidates. Your World Series favorites. That's a 2009 type offseason. Absolutely is. Good luck facing that in a playoff series. And then if Rodon pitches the way he's supposed to, you're hearing that he looks phenomenal, apparently. He's leaner. He's throwing heat. The mechanics look better. He's bending his back just fine. He's driving more in his delivery. I just hope he doesn't try doing too much to prove himself this spring and he doesn't overdo anything. As long as he gets through spring training healthy, and if he can pitch like he does and you have Cole and Snell, Jesus Christ, man. And Stroman, who I expect to have a good year. I expect him to have a big year. And maybe it's not Snell that Judge is hinting at. Maybe it's Montgomery. I don't know. Maybe it's a trade coming. Maybe it's a Dylan Cease. Maybe it's Shane Bieber. That's been quiet. You know, the Yankees can afford to make a trade, to be honest. They have Peraza and Pereira who don't fit into their roster. They have Verdugo and Torres to use. They have 7 guys expiring. Depending on who they want, how many years of control they're looking for. If they really wanted to, Spencer Jones. But I think he's off limits to them. But yeah, I think Snell is who Judge is hinting at. You know, I don't know how much it means. Maybe he knows that like they're trying. I don't think it means like they got a deal done or anything. But I don't know, man. Like it's that time of year where like it's hard not to bite the bait. And I don't want to do that right now. Spring training games start up on Saturday for the Yankees. Luis Gil will be pitching against Detroit's squad at 1 p.m. I loved Luis Gil. 2 years ago when he came up, his first stint with the Yankees as a starting pitcher for a little bit, that was fun. I thought he threw well. I think he's probably, if he's a part of the team this year, maybe gets back and he works his way onto the 26th man in the second half. You know, I think his command issues might limit his ceiling as a starting pitcher, and maybe they put him in the back end of the bullpen. But this is a guy who can throw some serious heat. It's got some good movement on his pitches. And again, when we saw him a couple years ago, he looked like he was a guy who talk about an internal clock. He had good composure on the mound. I was impressed with him. Other pitchers to look out for, prospect-wise this spring, Clayton Beeter, Will Warren. You're hearing that Clayton Beeter has worked on refining his changeup, a little bit his curveball this winter. His curveball's got great shape to it. Will Warren was a guy who progressed very well in the Yankees system last year. Chase Hampton, I think, through today. You can maybe see him sometime in the second half. So, these are guys that might not crack the roster at a camp, but there's a pretty good chance you'll see a couple of them at some point in the year. But the Snell thing was interesting. The Judge comment, keep an eye on that stuff. We'll see what happens there. I think that's it. I don't want to go too long. 40 minutes in. We'll head to our final break, get back, and wrap it up with our trivia, and that will be that. Stay with us here on episode 630 of BD4. Be right back. Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
Welcome back to the show. Episode 630 of BD4. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. Let's wrap it up with our trivia question, and that will be that. Okay. For this episode, we got a true or false. Mickey Mantle holds the record for most home runs by a switch hitter. I feel like we did this question before, but I don't have a great memory. True or false, Mickey Mantle holds the record for most home runs by a switch hitter. That's a pretty obvious one. Made more obvious just by saying that. True or false, Mickey Mantle holds the record for most home runs by a switch hitter. Folks, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Episode 630 is in the books. We're back with the Knicks this week. So, look forward to those episodes. I can't tell you those will be the most positive. I am not feeling good about I've punted my hopes regarding the 2024 season for the Knicks. I just don't see it. These injuries, the Randall thing especially. No. It's not happening for the Knicks this year. Nothing great. But we'll still talk about them. So that's coming up. Probably 6:31. We'll be doing Knicks Sixers. That takes place tomorrow night, Thursday, February 22nd. Jesus Christ, we are flying by. All right. Thanks, everybody. Later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you. And we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees and go Knicks!